Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to Jan's beautiful gallery here in Summerland, British Columbia. And today I'm going to talk to you about an eagle feather. To work in Western Canada in film and television is to spend a lot of time on First Nations land, whether it's the Stony Nakoda Reserve west of Calgary, where we filmed Legends of the Fall, Open Range, many other films, or whether it's the Tsuut'ina Reserve just west of Calgary, where we filmed Passchendaele and a number of other sets, or the Kainai Reserve in southern Alberta, where again we filmed a lot of shows. To work on First Nations land is to learn about nature, culture, kindness, and spirituality of time and place. And I can tell you from the sweetgrass ceremonies that were always how we started a show off, to just working with First Nations filmmakers and people. It was just truly a life-changing experience. In 1987, Janice and I met Kainai filmmaker Rick Tailfeathers, and it's because we were contracted to do a little bit of prep work on a film called Where the Spirit Lives, which was about the scooping of children from their homes and taken to residential schools. I, as a privileged white Canadian at that time, had no idea what had gone on with residential schools. It was 1987, and there were still schools open at the time. Rick took us on a tour of a First Nation, of a residential school on his nation, on the Kainai land where he was a student. I can tell you the cold chill of those hallways of that now empty school, it changed me forever. It changed the way I looked at things. It changed the way I saw First Nations people. Rick and I reconnected again on a film called Medicine River, and what made me think about that was I had an email yesterday from a First Nations filmmaker in Minnesota who told me he met me on that film and we'd worked together, and he also talked about my book. And the thing I take away from that experience on Medicine River was working with Stuart Margolin, the director, who, for those of you who don't know him, he was Angel on the Rockford Files. He was in Kelly's Heroes, many films and TV shows through the 60s, and perhaps one of the nicest people you'll ever work with. And Stuart and I worked really hard with Rick. We wanted to make sure that we were portraying culture correctly. Graham Greene was the star, and we just wanted to make sure that we did everything right. At the end of the film, we were saying goodbye to everybody. We had wrapped, and Rick stepped up and said, I have two gifts for two people on this crew that really is exemplified trying to do our culture right. And so he pulled out two eagle feathers, and he presented the first one to director Stuart Margolin, and he then looked at me and he said, and the second eagle feather is for Dean, whose props were perfect. And I can tell you, in my entire career, I don't think any moment ever grabbed my heart more than that moment. And that eagle feather means as much to me today as it did that day in 1992. I carry it with me in my bag everywhere on set. It goes to work with me every day. And every morning I look at that eagle feather as a centering piece to make sure that I try to do the right thing every day on set and be kind, be considerate, and be culturally aware of everything we do. And had a funny thing happen a couple years ago. Just after my book came out, our Academy Award nominated set decorator came into my office and said, I got your book. I read the first 9 chapters. I couldn't put it down. He says, I want to see the eagle feather. So he wanted proof that I actually was carrying it. So I actually pulled out the case out of my bag and I showed him the eagle feather. There are many rules about an eagle feather. You can't display it, you can't hang it off your mirror, you can't do crazy wild things with it. And in Canada, it's actually illegal to possess one unless you've been given it to you by a First Nations person. And in my case, this is the greatest thing that I've ever gotten. And I can say this, in props there are no awards for props, but those of us that had long careers certainly have a lot of rewards. Have a great day, everybody.